All right, I'm back. Because I figured there's some questions you might have about me and my background, how I came to be in the place I'm in today. So, I grew up in a little town in Ontario. I think there was probably around 750 people. Um, my parents always allowed me a lot of freedom. I was that person who, when new kids came to the school, I always befriended them, no matter how much rejection they were getting from everybody else. And I'm still like that today. I love people. I love listening to their stories. And this has never changed. Now I'm 55. So I love traveling. I love meeting young people and hearing their stories about how they want to change the world, how they're scared of having children because of the way the world is, and telling them not to be scared. I understand where they're coming from, but I think that if we all move now, we can save planet Earth and all of its beings. We're losing 60 species a day right now, and this has got to stop, as well as the use of plastic, etc. I mean, most of everybody that has any kind of education at all now knows this, and actually, the third world countries have been the first to ban plastics, whereas the US is trailing way behind. So interesting that you would think it would be the other way around. So, my parents raised me to be independent and free thinking and a free spirit. Whether they knew they were doing that or not, they did. So an example of that is when I was 13, we went to London, England, and they let me take the tube to go and see the Clash at the Hammersmith Odeon by myself. They didn't chastise me when I explored drinking and drugs. Kind of wish they had now, because I did end up being a high functioning drug addict, working my ass off Monday to Friday, as the we are conditioned to do, and to get the house, to get the new car, the husband, the at that time 2.5 children. Don't know quite how that works. And so I went to Mexico when I was 27. I had just separated from my husband, and I found out there are other ways to live and not work 40 hours a week and not be stuck in the matrix. I hadn't even seen the movie at that stage. It's great to revisit that movie now if you're going through any sort of fear about what your life purpose is on this earth. All of our life's purposes have to be to help humanity, to help the poor, to save the planet, to stop the extinction of animals, to make the deserts green again, to stop climate change, etc. We all know what's going on the planet, and some of us are just sitting back on our haunches, and I'm not one of those people. And I really want to be what can I say? I'd really like to motivate people to explore changing to this avenue from their 9 to 5 jobs. So I moved down to Mexico, where I only worked 16-hour a week. I had a trailer on the beach. I fished every day, did surf fishing, had caught fresh fish from unpolluted waters. I now am a vegan, practically. I do eat eggs because they're not fertilized anymore. But I'm pretty much a fruitarian. I use everything till it's ready to fall apart. When I go pee, I use the toilet paper 2 or 3 times. No, it's not gross. Urine is clean and healthy. Any little thing you can do Don't always carry a shopping bag. Always bring a Tupperware container for leftovers in restaurants. These are things that I abide by. They're simple, easy to do, and make a huge difference. So, after 20 years of working my ass off and getting that house and getting that car, I walked away from all of it. And as I say, I moved to Mexico where for the first time I experienced poverty and having to survive. And I wasn't very good at it back then. But I was soon discovered to be a very honest, hardworking realtor and ended up working at a beautiful place called Querencia with the best boss in the world, Mr. John Savage. And we decided, after my suggestion, rather than to, hogging clients to ourselves, there's too many arguments about who showed them the property first and who closed the deal. I suggested we form a team. And this is so important with everything in life is participation, collaboration, and teamwork. And in that way, I became very wealthy, earning in 1 year $1,000 a day, which I paid my taxes on, and became a non-resident of Canada, which I still am today. So I don't pay any taxes there anyways. You have to have a husband or home, and I had neither. So everything got really great. I bought my own condo. I bought a boat, all of which slowly were taken away from me. My ex stole the boat. I have no idea where he is. $110,000 down the drain. Had to sell the house. I had been traveling and living off the rent, and there was a really bad hurricane, and I realized that it was too risky to not be home during hurricane season, which I did not want to be, so I let go of the house. And the more I let go of, each time I let go of something, I had to find myself again. So first of all, I was April, the realtor. And then suddenly I wasn't. It's like, who am I? Oh, I'm April, the homeowner. Well, this is all Maya. Maya means things that give you a false sense of security. And letting go of all of those things and leaving my belongings behind and starting to travel with one suitcase, very light. I went to a glorious place that no longer exists. It burnt to the ground, called Harbin Hot Springs, where I meditated for a month in a gorgeous meditation pool there with the most healing hot springs maybe on the planet. My gratitude to Harbin Hot Springs for that. It was a clothing optional place where you learn to lose judgment of people by their clothes and their sunglasses and their jewelry, and see all the different body types and learn to love people for what's on the inside. It was great experience. We had a community kitchen and we shared recipes and food, and it was amazing. And I was guided to go to Bali. By this time I had just completely walked away from drugs and alcohol. I had done a number of fasts at the Optimum Health Institute in San Diego and Austin, got all the crap out of my liver and kidneys, went to a clinic that no longer exists, but they're now doing it in the States, and I had neurotransmitter replacement therapy, little fairies sweeping off the drugs, allowing the dopamine and serotonin to flood back in. Super amazing. I was addicted to Valium, and within 2 days, no desire at all. And in Tijuana, where I did it, walking from the clinic, interestingly named the HIT clinic. I need another hit. No, I don't. Dr. Hitt was brilliant. I think he has since passed away. He was in his 80s then, and this is now 20 years later. But Dr. Huckstein, I think it's Huckstein, has got a clinic in California, I believe, or New Mexico, where you can get this done, and you can get off any drug at all. It doesn't matter, Oxycontin, heroin, speed, you name it. I had to do 17 days, and then you follow it up with 90 days of meetings. So I did 90 because Narcotics Anonymous was all men and Spanish speaking in Mexico. I went to AA, lied, said I was an alcoholic, when in reality I've never been an alcoholic. Alcohol was just the gateway to other drugs. So 90 meetings, 90 days, hung out there a bit, and then took what I call the 13th step, which is not sleeping with someone from AA, but it's actually knowing that you have taken control of your life and walking away. Not everybody can do this. And a lot of people approached me and said, "Aren't you scared?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And I encouraged other people that were ready to walk away, and they started their own businesses, and they are successful and happy and drug and alcohol free. But that is not for everybody. So 1 year sober, that's cool. I know lots of people that have done it and just slid right back down again. So be cautious with that. I'm not advising anybody to do it. That was just my own personal journey. And yeah, so within one life, we all live many lives. We have our childhood where we are unconditioned, we're free, we climb trees, we play with our friends, we have our naps. Yeah, and then, the teenage years, which are tough, when we move from our sort of spiritual, maybe what you could call your crown chakra, you move into your sex chakra and start to have desires for male partners. And this is where you have to be very careful. And I wasn't. So my selection of men was not great. And that continued through my life into my 40s, where I came into my first relationship with a psychopath, and I had no clue what the signs are. And if you want to know more about that, just let me know in the comments section. But they say 60% of doctors are psychopaths. So I'll just give you it in a nutshell. So they're people that make you feel loved and confident and beautiful, and then slowly they bash you with verbal abuse through email or Facebook or face to face. And slowly I shrank into this someone I didn't know, with no self confidence, didn't feel beautiful anymore, didn't feel able to get a job. The old me was completely gone. And it took me 3 years to get back up. And it's still 7 years later, I've only just started getting on stage and singing again, something I love to do. And something like this on YouTube, are you kidding me? I never would have had the confidence to do that. So getting out of those relationships, healing. I worked a lot with shamanic medicines, which helped me greatly. Ayahuasca was amazing for me. Also working with San Pedro. Peyote, I did once, and the shaman said I was done with it, and he was right. And then now, of course, the Kambo, which I love and I want to share with the world. So yeah, my parents were a big part of how I've come to be a survivor, and I'm super grateful to them for that. Yeah, super grateful. Amazing parents. My mom is just incredible, one of my best friends, as is my sister, who also had a very tough life and made bad choices in men that we get from the example that's set to us by our mother and father, and the roles they play with each other that we observe as children. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I know that this is true. So the first 5 years of your life are very formative. If you do have children, please, please take time to be with them when they're in vitro, in your womb. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you eat. Don't argue with your husband. Be in a peaceful and loving place so that they can come out into the world feeling loved and safe. So bringing in a lot of different subjects here, and I'm not trying to be all over the map, but I'm just trying to give you a picture of my life. I ended up, after the boat was stolen from me and after the crash of 2007 and sitting in my office and nobody walking through the door for 7 months, I quit. And I walked away from that and money making. And I started traveling, and so 2007, so 11 years of traveling. Now I spent 2 years in Bali, 6 months in Gili Air, amazing place, both of them, and settled in Koh Phangan, Thailand for 6 months, where I started practicing my healing modality, which is working with plant essences. Love it. Amazing. Bach flower remedies, they're available to anybody. So if you're feeling anxious, go to your local drugstore and get one that offers peace. There's something for everybody. Bach flower remedies, bush flower remedies. There's so many of them now to choose from, and really help to heal things before they manifest in the physical form, like I did with a very painful eye disease for 8 years, as a result of a combination of my history, my belief systems, and LASIK surgery, and then of course the cancer, which I've told you about. So yeah, our belief systems, forget everything you think you know. We've been conditioned. Question everything you hear, whether it's from some guru that everybody loves, like this guy I met that ended up, he was sleeping with like 8 women from the class, and it was a total narcissist. Make sure you're being heard when you meet somebody. If all they talk about is themselves, then they're very likely a narcissist. And I know I'm sitting here talking all about myself, but this is to help you guys. So I hope I'm giving some advice that can help anybody. Even one person out there would make me happy. And so sending love and blessings as always. My Facebook name is April Ananda, Ananda, which means bliss. That's the second word. And the third word is Martin, Martin. I'm here for you, and I'd love to be friends with you, and yeah, and do some coaching, which I will offer for free, because I don't have a work permit here in Thailand. If I go back to Canada, I'll start offering it as a career. So namaste.